Hello, and welcome back to Computerscapes. I'm your host, Austin Both, and in today's episode, I'm going to do a long-term review of Pop OS 21.04 based on Ubuntu, which was 3 months ago. This distro is not exciting at all because of the mundane features, but there's some good minor changes made. The latest release of Pop OS implements a new dock, trackpad gestures, splitting the activities menu into 2 buttons, as well as a super key search bar similar to the Mac. The dock is very much unneeded and feels like a move towards mimicking Mac OS. It can look Mac OS style or Windows style, which is more like a taskbar, but I still don't like it. It's bundled with the distro by default. It should be something people add afterwards if they want. I mean, yeah, you can disable it, but you still see the dock rear its ugly head whenever you log in. An unwelcome change for sure. If I want to banish the dock altogether, I have to purge its packages, and it always will run in the background if you look at the activity or resource monitor. I like the trackpad gestures as they're great for laptop use, which happens to be my use case. Just one issue though, it's not natural. Natural scrolling is very important to me. If I want to move to the next workspace, I can use a 4-finger swipe down and it will move down. I want to swipe up to go down like on iPhone or Mac or most touch screens. This is natural scrolling and it feels a lot better and more refined. Shipping this unnatural scroll by default is pesky. Now, splitting the activities menu into workspaces and applications, I get that some people might like that, but I prefer the old way where there was simply an activities menu. Sadly, not in this release. I remember the dock being on the right where we could find our applications, and the workspaces menu on the right with our windows in the middle. Now that's a nice overview. It feels like a step backwards to what we've got now, where it's, more complicated. It's sort of like how the iPhone started out with just one home button, and older phones had like a bunch of buttons. I think having less buttons on the UI is just a big change that should be made. But yeah, it's very important to me. The search bar is, okay. It's more like Spotlight on the Mac because it doesn't ruin your whole screen. You can still see your work if you press the button, And yeah, it's pretty simple. Just like installation, if you know how a computer works, you can just make the installation happen. It's not a big deal. It's not like where you need a guide like on Arch Linux. You can just do it. The hardest part is formatting the disks, but after you get past the actual install and you just get to the OOBE out-of-box experience, I think it's pretty simple. All you need to do is select your language or region sort of thing and select how you want the dock to look. Now to default apps. I found the Pop shop basically the same, but I don't think that's a bad thing. The layout is good and the app options are alright. Now, if you don't know, the Pop Shop is the app store on Pop OS 21.04. It's basically like Ubuntu software. I can't remember what the one for Manjaro is. Unfortunately, you can no longer download the Brave browser with the distribution. Maybe that was just an Ubuntu software, but I think you could have downloaded the Brave browser. And this distribution ships Firefox as the default web browser. Outside of the App Store, having LibreOffice bundled with the OS came in handy because you never know when you might want a spreadsheet locally on your machine. I personally use Google Suite, but having LibreOffice handy is a useful utility anyway because, it can print better, it's more precise in a few ways, and if people, a lot of people who use Linux are interested in their privacy, and they're concerned with the privacy, so they would probably want things to be stored locally on their system. I don't really use local apps. But I use them sometimes, just in case there's a document. But that's besides the point. The settings app was similar to basically any distro, like with GNOME, but Cosmic made it slightly different. The calendar at the top of the UI I found pretty useful in any GNOME. I just like being able to click at the top and just seeing all of my stuff. No hassle. And all of my notifications, events, weather, I can see how many degrees it is. Oh my god, it's gonna be raining at 7:30. But yeah, This distro uses the Cosmic desktop environment, but it's just GNOME with some small tweaks. Yeah, that's basically all Cosmic is. My opinion on these changes is negative because I just prefer the default GNOME interface. It's simple with no docks or menu bars in sight. Of course I can change that, but I would just rather this distro have it baked in already. Speaking of the new search feature, you can hit the super key and a menu will appear in the center of your screen. It will show the windows you currently have open, as well as allowing you to navigate your system without the need to use a mouse. I think this is a fine addition to the operating system. Overall, I mean, like I said at the start, the changes are pretty mundane. I mean, yeah, gestures, game changer, not natural though. That's how they could improve the operating system further. And I mean, remove the dock and just have it as an optional thing that you can check to download when you're installing. At the beginning, say, do you want a dock? And then if you don't want a dock, don't download a dock. I mean, it's that simple. Yeah, that's about it from me. Thank you for watching my video, and make sure to subscribe if you want to see videos like this in the future. And I might be doing some more videos on this operating system in the future as well. I mean, I've got some plans about like my 7-day workflow. So if you're interested in operating systems in general or computers, I mean, subscribe.